Alright guys, welcome along to Here's Rodder's Reviews. We're going to get into Terminator Dark Fate. I have been putting off watching this movie for a long time because I have listened to the reports on it online. Almost 100% across the board, everybody seemed to detest this movie, and lesson learned tonight: make up your own mind. Now, I'm not going to say this is a fantastic movie. I'm not going to say I enjoyed this movie, but I am pretty glad I watched it just to see what they did with it. I did kind of ruin it for myself and checking out the trailer, or not the trailer, the opening of the movie on YouTube shortly after it was released. And, part of me is saying to myself, okay, Terminator, the franchise of Terminator, I think we're at the point now where this is just let it die where it's at. We're all excited for James Cameron to be coming back to do this movie, and he's only in a producer role in this, and pretty much it's the exact same story again. Just, you could pretty much say it's not a reboot, but it's as close to a reboot as you're going to get, basically, while continuing on the franchise. It's like the Star Trek rebooted series, whenever they did the whole time travel thing with Spock going back and changing the past and creating a new timeline, and then pretty much trying to restart the Star Trek franchise. Similar to that. As we all know, after the events of Terminator 2, Sarah Connor and the Terminator changed the future, and Skynet was never created. But in this movie, the humans managed to build another AI called Legion, and that's another thing that I'm not too fond of in these newer rebooted movies. The names aren't as cool. Legion isn't Skynet, and the whole Terminator thing. Back whenever I was a kid growing up, I was, pretty much the age for the movies when they come out, and Skynet did have a bit of you heard the name Skynet and then the Terminator and whatnot, and you were just kind of what, that entity Skynet had a kind of, I don't know, not brought a lot of fear onto you, but it just, it had it brought a response out of me that Legion doesn't, and just, it's a weak name, a weak replacement. And this time there's a young girl who is pretty much the future saviour, and it just seemed so weird, and the way that they did it. Of course, we never actually found out the origin of John in the future and how he became the massive leader that he was. Although you could say it was Sarah bringing him up that way, but you get into time travel in these movies, and if you start to overanalyze shit, you'll realise how quickly the wheels fall off a lot of stuff. Because, in Terminator 2, John was saying she freaked out, and she made him, all the men she was with were military people and crazy gun nuts and whatnot, and they were trying to bring him up to be this massive world leader. But if you think about it, at some point, and time travel will screw you up whenever you're thinking this shit out, because if the Terminator never came back originally in the first movie, Sarah wouldn't have known about Terminator, so she wouldn't have tried to train John up to be this future leader. So at the beginning, that never happened until the Terminator came back, and the shit fries your head. And this one, the girl we discover is pretty much the augmented girl from the future that came back. We discover that this young girl in the future, Dani, found Grace, saved her from this gang that was trying to kill her for food, basically. Not kill her for food as in, they were going to eat her, but the food that she was carrying. The Terminators had taken over, Legion had taken over, and they were, Judgment Day happened and the survivors were turning on each other. And this girl, Dani Ramos, in the future, saves Grace from this gang, and it's like, guys, we should really be fighting the machines and not ourselves. And she turns everybody against the machines. And I don't know, there's a part of me too that was, and this was one of the complaints that I heard, and kind of did put me off checking it out before now, was the Grace coming back from the future, and she's augmented, so she's part human, part machine. And people had said, you would think the last thing you would want to do if you're fighting a war against machines is actually put machines into your body. It just didn't seem to make sense to a lot of people. But in the movie, it explains it a lot better than that. There, you do realise why she made the choice to have this happen. It's like, the last alternative. Like, she was pretty much dead and done for, basically, and then she volunteered to have this done pretty much a last resort. But it's the same old story. You've got this future leader that needs protecting, and a Terminator is sent back from the future to kill her off, and this augmented human is sent back to protect her. So it's very similar to the original storylines. But of course, we've got Sarah Connor back in this one too. I was really, really interested to see her coming back into it. And of course, this wouldn't be a Terminator movie without Arnie in there. And it is a fairly genius idea on how they dealt with that. Of course, we know the events of Terminator 2, but there was multiple Terminators sent back, not just the one. So the Terminator that actually helped them change the future, and at the end of Terminator 2, there was a whole load more set to come back at different points in time. And Sarah, throughout the 20 years, whatever it was, from John getting killed, was getting all these text messages from an unseen helper, basically, which we find out to be the Terminator, Arnold, the Terminator that actually killed John at the start of the movie. Of course, he's been there since the early 90s, and his flesh grows old like a human, so whenever we do get to meet him, he's like, the real Arnie's age in this movie. And when he killed John, he didn't have any more programming, and he carried out the program that he was sent back with, the orders, so he had no more orders to follow. So he managed to find himself a life, got himself a wife and a kid. Well, not his kid, it was her kid, but becomes a family man and starts a business hanging blinds. And there is some good comic moments with Arnold in this movie that did make me laugh a time or two in it. But I don't know, I don't feel that this film was a waste of my time tonight. It's very rarely I'd sit down to watch a film and not get through it. It's literally only happened a handful of times in my life. Like, I do bits and pieces of like amateur filmmaking if I get the opportunity to do it. So I do know how much work, how hard it is to get these things made and out there. And just from an amateur filmmaker's perspective, I can sit down and even watch a bad movie and find something in it to like learn from, or enjoy it for what it is. And the only films that I haven't got through up to this point have been the Twilight movies. Like, I got to that first one, I got to the point where your guy steps out into the sunlight and he starts to sparkle, and we can't go out into the sun because people know who we are. So I'm kind of like, any self-respecting vampire would burst into flames right there. I need to watch that movie again. Like, it's unfair. Didn't watch the whole film, but that was just, when that happened, it was just like I was out of there. But Terminator Dark Fate, I didn't feel that was wasting my time. I did watch it. I did enjoy it. The action sequences were pretty good on it. The little bit of humour with Arnie always works well. Especially when he's doing that there with the Terminator role. We've seen that in a few of the movies. What's that one? And I watched it not that long ago too. Terminator Genesis. And that one, when they're caught and arrested, and they're doing they've got the theme tune from Cops in the background, and they're showing the lineup of them getting the photographs taken, and Arnie tries to do the smile. I love that sort of stuff with the Terminator, and there's a little bit of that in this movie as well. But I don't know, like the Terminator movies are just, the first two are iconic, Terminator and Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Absolutely fantastic. Told a great story for its time, groundbreaking. The second one especially is flipping fantastic. But for me, I kind of feel that storyline should have been left alone. The fact they brought the character of John back and set it literally about a month after the second one finished and let him get killed off again, just didn't sit that well with me. But the story they did tell here was, again, that's just a similar story again. You know, no matter how hard you're going to try to stop this Judgment Day with the machines, it's still going to happen, sort of a deal. But I think there's a bit of a preachy message in there, and it's just like, the humans are going to screw this up no matter what you try to do. But I don't know. If you haven't watched it yet, check it out and let me know what you think about it in the comments below this video. I completely understand the people that hate this movie. Wholeheartedly, I get it. I can see that perspective as well. But these movies now, they're just, you know, after the first two, they just became bubblegum for the brain. And that's just how I sat down to watch it tonight, and that's just what I took from it. Just, you know, sit down, switch off, and enjoy. And in all honesty, I did enjoy it, but I don't think there'll ever be a rewatchability factor there. So, you know, for me, the two iconic ones are the first two. Everything after that there is just, yeah, let's just kill a bit of time with a Terminator movie.